My great-great-grandfather purchased this property in 1882.
Donna Han McCoy's great-great-grandfather, Reuben Gay, had been raised a slave who used his freedom after the Civil War to prosper.
This is the second barn, and my dad helped build this barn. It was built in 1952.
Building this home in Fayette County and owning hundreds of acres of farmland. Generations of Gay's family, including Donna, now 60 years old, were raised here.
I just submitted to the Georgia State Preservation and the National Park, and this will be the first African-American historical landmark in Fayette County, Georgia.
And his descendants still inhabit these hundreds of acres, many buried in the same cemetery just up the road where he was laid to rest.
This is his grave here.
Donna's passion for her family's history is part of how she has helped to heal her traumatic past, one in which she was kidnapped and raped as an adult, one in which she grew up in an alcoholic home she fled at just 15 years old.
So I ended up being one of those women that was on the streets. I was standing on the street corner down by the Fox Theater, and that's where it all began for me, trying to survive on my own, looking for love, because it wasn't at home. I have a safety list.
Donna tried to take her life 3 times. It was one of those times hospitalized at Grady Hospital in downtown Atlanta that she learned of the Nia Project.
It gave me life, and I took that, and I kept coming and kept coming. In the midst of, there was things happening along the way, but I just kept coming. When I started having flashbacks.
The Nia Project is a program that's culturally responsive, where we provide mental health services for African American women who have had a long history of trauma.
It wasn't even about me calling the police at the time.
They feel like there's no way out but to end their lives, and so they attempt suicide. And the program aims to help them find a sense of purpose in their lives, to build meaning, to find a community where they can connect with other women with similar stories.
Know that it's not your fault.
Chief psychologist at Grady Health System, Dr. Nadine Kaslow, founded the Nia Project at Grady Hospital over 20 years ago and has worked with over 2,000 suicidal African American women. Nia is the Kwanzaa principle of purpose.
Suicidal behavior has been on the rise in that community, and so that's increasingly concerning. And maybe most importantly, there's just been tremendous stigma about getting mental health services in general within the African American community. African American women pride themselves, rightly so, on being strong Black women, and that often means they are wonderful at taking care of everybody else that struggle to take care of themselves.
Nia's research has found that African American women are more at risk for suicide if they are survivors of intimate partner violence, have a history of childhood abuse and neglect, experience negative life events, and have mental health issues such as overall psychological distress, depression, PTSD, or substance misuses. The greater the number of risk factors, the higher the risk of suicide. Nia's research has also found that what is protective and makes African American women resilient include having positive social support and a sense of belonging, feeling close to their family and accepted, being a mother, having adaptive coping skills, being confident in their abilities, being spiritual, and having a sense of meaning and purpose in life.
It's very much of an empowerment-oriented program. All of our clinical and research services are designed to be empowerment-oriented and very culturally competent. So in the research program, for example, all of the groups are co-led by at least one therapist who is African American or Black.
Distress tolerant.
The Nia Project is a free program that provides all of the women individual, group, couples, and family therapy, along with crisis services 24 hours a day. The women become part of a tight-knit community, supporting each other, learning practical strategies for day-to-day life, and finding their purpose in their lives. For many of these women, participating in the Nia Project marks the first time they've ever truly been helped or felt seen or heard. The women who find Nia find their will to live again.
I believe in God that I can My child molestation started when I was 8 years old. When I was 11 years old, all I wanted to do was just die. And by the time I turned 12, he got me pregnant.
Deborah Gay was repeatedly raped and impregnated by her stepfather until she became an adult. At 50 years old, she no longer wanted to live.
I actually took the pills. And it was a young lady in the bathroom with me. And she heard me and crying, and she said, "Ma'am, you okay?" I was like, "No, I just took a bunch of pills." Working through everything was really hard.
And then she was referred to Nia.
Nia had gave me a voice. It made me recognize that everything that happened to me in my life was not my fault. And it gave me courage to stand up and speak out and tell my story.
Deborah found an artistic outlet for feelings that had been buried most of her life.
Oh, it was amazing. It was unbelievable because I didn't think I had the skill to do it.
Deborah and Donna's artwork and writing are published by Nia in annual books now sold on Amazon, part of giving a voice to women in the project.
That's my sunflower I grew on my patio. Now look at the sun shining through.
Nia creates big change, but it's the small things, says Dr. Kaslow, like seeing women smile for the first time, or the story of one woman they sent to a literacy program.
After she completed the program, she came and knocked on my office door and had her certificate, and she was so proud of herself. And she said to me, "Dr. Kaslow, do you have any idea what it's like to be able to go to the grocery store and look at a soup can and buy the one you want that you like because you can read the labels?"
Donna's purpose has only grown beyond her great-great-grandfather's home to the church he was taken to by his slave owner.
I discovered over 300 slave graves there, and my grandfather is buried there.
In the woods behind the church, she discovered these slave graves filled with families.
The Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, the Latter-day Saints, we have all placed crosses, at least 150 graves.
She has become an historian and an excavator of her past, of herself.
I look around and I said, I can't stop now. I found a reason to live because now I have to take care of my ancestors. Yes.